Hello there, producer Randall here. The following episode was recorded in 2022 and scheduled for release just as news broke of the disappearance of actor Julian Sands while hiking in the Mount Baldy region of the San Gabriel Mountains. We hold out hope for his eventual safe return and want to wish the best to Julian Sands, his family, and friends as teams continue their search. And now, back to the show.
There's some shenanigans going on.
Definitely. Sorry, buddy.
Hardcore shenanigans.
It's fucking bullshit. And you're like right there by the Con Ed plant. It should be cheaper for you.
I would think so.
It doesn't have to travel. It's
Doesn't go anywhere.
locally sourced electricity.
Exactly. It's down the street.
They fucked up. Somebody fucked up.
You either have a ghost or someone stealing your electricity.
Especially when there's reports of like 5-digit bills. Like that's crazy.
In a residential unit, which is like
That's crazy.
1 bedroom. I was saying,
no way.
Unless they are mining for crypto.
yeah.
Right?
And the entire apartment is filled
Dana,
with
are you
servers.
mining for crypto?
But you are not the first people to make that joke.
Unless you have
Your
stacks
secret
and stacks
mining.
of servers mining for crypto, there is absolutely
And
no
literally,
way.
I was like, well, this guy was yelling at me and lecturing me that I didn't know what I was talking about the amount of electricity I use in my apartment. I was like, I don't have an aquarium. I don't have an extra
aquarium.
That's literally the last time this happened. They spent 45 minutes trying to convince me that I must have an aquarium, and that's why my bill shot up. Like,
That's
there's no
hilarious.
aquarium in my apartment. It's 600 square feet. I'm sure I would know.
But Dana, I'm not gonna lie. An aquarium would be nice.
An aquarium would be nice.
Have you thought about getting an aquarium?
If I get an aquarium and my electric bill goes up, I'm lost.
It's true.
Oh, but aquariums are nice.
Aquarium.
Speaking of vast amounts of power, welcome.
like it.
Celestial power, yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to You're No Fun Anymore, the podcast where we deal with our nostalgia. I'm Randall.
I'm Dana.
I'm Bryce.
I'm Alexandra. And I'm Helen.
And today we are getting into Warlock or Thaumaturge Overkill.
Nice.
Thaumaturge. I can never say that word.
Dramaturge?
Dramaturge?
Thaumaturge.
It just reminds me
It's another word for
That's
yeah.
good.
It reminds me
Yeah.
of lobster thermidor.
The other one I was going to go with is one Grimoire with feeling.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like,
Ooh, one grimoire with feeling is good.
Yeah.
One
Randall.
grimoire
One
was
Grimoire
feeling.
with feeling.
Or one grimoire flew over the cuckoo's
There
nest.
you go. The really inappropriate one was Sans got your tongue.
Gross.
In a time of fear and suspicion,
You choose to admit your crimes before man and God?
his coming was foretold. Now, he is here.
You know the signs. You are bewitched.
He has the face of an angel,
Channel me a spirit.
the charm of the devil,
Hear me when I say he's evil. Evil absolute.
and the powers of a god. Satan also has one son.
For you are the first to have lain eyes upon the new Messiah.
Now, an enemy from his past,
Who appointed you executioner?
and a girl from the present.
You know what he's capable of.
Next time he's gonna kill me.
I'll not let him harm you.
Are the only hope for the future. This is the terrifying adventure that could set the world on fire. Warlock.
Content warning. This selected film may contain scenes depicting the following: visceral violence, graphic dismemberment, mild body horror, implied pedicide, misogyny, homophobic and ableist humor, language, trypanophobic assault, supernatural foot brutality, magical mouth fighting, Deus Ex Mennonites, inexplicable human flight, hilarious aging makeup, and smoking. And now, back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
Hey, Bryce.
Yeah.
This was a way grosser movie than I was expecting.
Yeah. It wasn't scary.
I don't know if Alex would watch this one.
There was no on-screen kill.
It was real gross.
No, it wasn't bloody. It was
the implications were bloody.
It was grotesque. Like there was
I'm sorry,
eye thing.
guys. He carries around eyeballs.
Yeah.
For way longer than anybody should carry around eyeballs for.
Okay, question. What is the appropriate amount of time to carry around eyebrows?
No time. Maybe I'm going to give you 15 seconds.
Okay.
15 seconds is how long you should carry around
A
eyeballs.
car ride to get to the hospital.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
In a baggie.
If your eyeballs out of your head, it's probably not going to the hospital.
So gross.
You never know.
They were really. Why did they still blink? They shouldn't still
'Cause they were
blink once
possessed by
they're
the
outside of your
devil.
head.
They were devil eyeballs.
They were devil eyeballs. The biting out of the tongue and spitting it into a pan. That
Beautiful.
was gross. Gross.
This was Bryce's
Bryce,
favorite
this
movie
whole
when
movie
she
was
was
your idea.
I
Were you
have
on cloud nine?
I was like so psyched about this. So psyched. We watched it last night. It was slightly more homophobic, but just as good as I remember.
It was homophobic just in the one part in the beginning.
In that really, really cringy scene. Yes.
Yeah. In that really cringy scene.
Yep.
I will just say
I'd never heard of it. Never ever heard of it.
Oh, really?
So
I did see Boxing Helena that the guy who played the Warlock was in.
you saw Boxing Helena.
Uh-huh.
funny
It's one
thing.
of my favorite movies.
So
What the hell, Alex?
when I was younger, this is funny. My mother had a huge crush on Julian Sands because of A Room with a View. So I watched.
Absolutely, rightfully so.
I
because
feel
Julian
like
Sands is
No,
hot.
totally reasonable. He's beautiful.
I feel like he's a
Beautiful.
Die Hard character that was never in Die Hard.
Like-
I kept looking through his whole IMDb being like, where in Die Hard?
He
were
must
you?
have been
You
in
must
Die
have been
Hard.
one of the Die Hards.
But so
was not
my
in that
mother, when I was
sequel.
like 10 to 12, I'd seen this movie 1,000 times and the sequel and Boxing Helena when I was like 11.
What is wrong with you people?
What?
This is what's wrong with my mother and her like way of raising me.
This is how I want to start this conversation because this struck me very early on in watching this. You guys can give me as much shit as you want about liking Fred Savage when I was a kid, but it was age appropriate. This guy, David Bowie, James Spader, these are not people that children should enjoy.
I didn't watch Boxing Helena when I was a child. I watched Boxing Helena in college.
But
Oh,
also,
I watched it when I was a
watched it when
child.
I
I
was
was too
but
young.
also,
It was
but also,
inappropriate.
I feel like these were like stretch goals, right? These were like.
And I
these
did
were
not like him in Boxing
You're gonna
Helena.
reach. You're gonna reach for Julian Sands. You're gonna
You shouldn't
really
be
reach for
reaching
David
Julian
Bowie.
Sands when you're 10 or 11 years old.
No, well, so when
Julian
I was
Sands
10 or
is
11,
so
I had a huge crush on Renford.
Oh yeah,
But,
no, Redfern is the hottie.
Richard
Yeah,
E.
he's
Grant,
like-
baby.
like mullet
Richard
aside.
E. Grant was beautiful.
I will
in this
give you,
movie.
he was very pretty in this movie, which is
They
maybe
were
the only
both
time I
very pretty. I was
I
like,
mean,
hello.
Huge
Richard E. Grant,
crush.
I kept being like,
For a
why are
film-
you so handsome?
Yeah, for a film that's basically just three people, they did a really amazing. It's just like,
They
wow,
did
these,
a great
these
job.
are really hot people.
Well, no. So Julian Sands and
Except what is with her wig?
she was awful. Like everybody else
no,
was.
no, no. Wait.
Okay, anyway.
Laurie Singer, yeah, she's not good in this movie, but she's
No.
really good. Like,
Wait,
No.
but in this
Come on,
movie,
Footloose?
she was community theater, and
Fame?
everybody else was Royal Shakespeare Company.
That-
Come on.
Yes.
I
Randall,
love
the
Laurie
entire
Singer.
time I was like, she wasn't this bad in Footloose. What
I-
happened? Why is she so bad?
I loved Laurie Singer because Laurie Singer was in Fame and I was obsessed with Fame
Yeah.
when I was a
Yeah.
kid.
Fame.
Yep.
I can safely say Laurie
'Cause
Singer
you're
is
gonna live forever.
not a great actress. She was
No.
very tall and very pretty, and she made some very good movies, but she is not necessarily a good actress.
No.
oh, you know, this is actually kind of funny. So her brother is the Beastmaster himself, Mark Singer.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
She's also
love
A lot of
she's
talent
an
in that
actor.
she's like a music virtuoso. She
Oh yeah, she was
she's
like
a cellist.
or something.
Yeah, she debuted in I think the Oregon
Youngest person
Symphony
to like graduate from
at, like,
Juilliard,
13.
right?
Yeah, she's the youngest person to graduate from Juilliard. She attended Juilliard at 14.
Damn,
Like,
girl.
she's very, very talented. I just don't think this movie is a good example of that.
No,
because
I feel
that
like she-
wig is terrible.
She
Okay,
called
so
it
the
in.
wig.
I think she called it
No,
in.
I don't think she called it in. I think she was weirdly playing against type, right?
Yeah.
And she was
Yeah.
like
trying to be much more of a hard ass than she is.
Well,
you know,
and I was so angry because like in terms of a character in what is admittedly like a mediocre B movie, it's a good part for a woman. Like she had like an arc.
Hey, Bryce.
Yes.
A Lori Petty in this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The character
Lori
had
Petty
an
would
arc.
have been good.
It had like growth. She had like badass moments. Really, it was lost.
Yeah. Well,
Annie Potts would have been great.
Oh shit!
She did not have a good time with this movie. I don't think. I mean, there is a description that was written up about. There's an article in Fangoria's talking about the makeup that they had designed and had gone through. She just didn't want to wear prosthetics, so they had to like basically just
for the
do,
old
like,
makeup. I mean, that is a problem when at least half to 2/3 of your role is playing not your age.
Although the age she played was 40 via 75.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Makeup was not
the 60-year-old was even funnier.
The 60 was it was very Star Trek-y, wasn't it? If you've ever watched any of the like older Star Treks, the age makeup they do
it's just so cheap.
Terrible.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because like the dude who did it, Carl Fullerton, like it's just like you design these prosthetics to have this look, and then you basically stuck with like regional theater line penciling and stippling, and it just looks bad on camera.
When she was middle-aged, I just thought
I got very offended.
You should number one, super offended. I look way better at 40 than she did. But I just felt like she just needed to like have a nap and maybe like a carrot juice or something.
Yeah,
something
V8
to just like perk her up.
A nice V8.
It was Bryce's favorite movie when she was 10, 11?
10, 11. Yeah, absolutely. I'd seen this movie probably between the ages of 10 and the ages of like 16. I've probably seen this movie 24 times. And then I didn't see it for 15 years.
But I'm the weird one for liking Fred Savage.
A little bit.
I'm like, this movie explains so like this plus Return to Oz explains so much.
It really does. Yeah, it really does. Bryce, I'm going to tell you my favorite movie
horror.
when I was 10 or 11 was The Three Musketeers, which we already covered.
Yeah.
Or The Princess Bride.
Well,
sure.
What's wrong with that?
Those are both solid quality.
No, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is a wonderful movie. Alex is saying this is why she's so well adjusted. And honestly, just the five of us, she is the most well-adjusted one among us.
Hey, I'm well-adjusted. I pay my taxes. I keep my cats alive. I have a full-time job. I'm fine.
My cats are somewhere. I don't know where they
are. My cats are somewhere.
I can see one of my cats right now. Who knows what your cat's up to, Alex?
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're on the bed. Do you know where your cats are? I know
Yeah.
they're on the bed napping, looking up when we're very loud.
Well, so I have to say about this movie. So this is really weird because I had to pick a year where this came in because it technically came out in 1989, and I'm sticking with that, but it did not receive a theatrical US release until 1991.
Huh.
Yeah, so it kind of got caught up when
I read that actually. Like
New World Films was going through bankruptcy, and because they had no money, so they just shelved a lot of their stuff. And then Trimark came in and ended up buying it out, and it was released through there. It premiered at Cannes in May of 1989.
It was
premiered at Cannes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, it was a U.S. production, right? Like this was all filmed in the U.S.
Yeah, This is Roger Corman's New World.
It was. Yeah. It weirded me out because when we were looking up to watch it, everywhere it said it was released 1989. But when I looked on the
streaming
on the streaming, it said 1991, and I was like, "Are we sure this is the right one?" Because it's 2 years different.
Yeah. So I'm just sticking with 1989 because that's when it officially came out in the UK and it premiered at Cannes.
That's what everybody claims it as. So
honestly, this feels way more comfortable as a 1989 movie than a
totally.
1991 movie. Not just for the lackluster special effects.
The fashion.
We'll
get into it. We will get into it.
Okay. So, but I'm going to stick with the year as 1989. Let's go with that. The year is 1989. At the Grammys, George Michael's debut solo album, Faith, takes home album of the year.
I love him.
Yeah, what a way to bring out your solo album. This year would also be the first year that the award was given out for the category of best hard rock / metal performance. The first nominees being Jane's Addiction, AC/DC, Iggy Pop, the heavily favored frontrunner Metallica, and the eventual winner of the award, Jethro Tull.
No, fuck you.
Yes.
That actually does make sense.
Flutes are metal.
Come on, Jane's Addiction. I don't actually think I knew that Jane's Addiction was already popular by 1989.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This year also is the birth of Daniel Radcliffe, arguably the most famous wizard in pop culture history.
I love him. He's so sweet.
yeah.
Warlock. Yeah, totally.
He is a very
Kinda
famous
fun.
warlock.
Sticking with
Big
magic
time.
as a theme, the most famous magician at this time is David Copperfield. He accidentally cuts off a piece of his own finger while performing a rope trick in Memphis, Tennessee, to which he says, quote, "Excuse me for a moment, I just sliced the end of my finger off," and then leaves the stage. The audience thought it was part of the act, so they're just laughing along with it until he didn't come back. So he was rushed to the emergency room where they reattached the digit, and reportedly he did come back and finish the show.
He is a very show must go on fella.
I'm
must
just
go on,
amazed
yeah.
Apparently, this was the shortest ER visit finger reattachment.
Yeah, right?
If you're just gotta
David
sew it back
Copperfield,
on, yeah.
Just
The
needed a
Russian
little
front
bit of
line.
stitches.
He's getting through that triage.
Yeah. This year also sees the start of what would become mini sessions between several of over 800 Mennonite congregations to discuss their eventual merger into the two largest organized bodies in North America, which would be Mennonites USA and Mennonite Church Canada. This was it took almost 15 years.
Oh, right,
I think.
Because they had to
Mennonites
use
in this movie.
they
Yeah,
couldn't use the
weird little
telephone. They
Mennonite.
kept they just had to use their buggies to deliver messages.
Heyo. One of the largest anti-fur protests in the United States takes place in 91 cities on the 4th annual Fur-Free
Anti-what?
Friday.
Anti-fur.
Anti-fur. Yeah, taking place on Black Friday this year. New York City alone saw about 2,500 people marching down Fifth Avenue, led by the Price is Right host and friend of the animals, Bob Barker. They disrupt the capital of, at the time, a $2 billion fur industry. 3 decades later, by the way, New York State has a bill that would actually ban fur production and sales.
Does
in the
everybody
state.
remember the animal rights? Animal rights person
Oh, yeah.
at Union Square.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was an annual occurrence. And I think this was the largest that it ever got in 89, because once it started getting a little bit more publicity, fur really went into decline. But apparently,
I
it's
thought you
back.
said anti-Ford.
Yeah.
I heard anti.
Screw those Fords.
and I was
Okay.
really confused.
So you're
But
saying I
go
need to
with it.
enunciate. Speaking of fur, Charles Stewart, Boston resident who served as the general manager of the Newbury Street Furrier, that's a fun word, and fur store, Edward F. Kakas and Son.
Is this why you had some comments about Boston in the text messages?
So he ends up calling 911 and reports that a black man with a raspy voice robbed and shot him and his pregnant wife while stopped
Oh,
at a
no.
traffic light. Boston PD spends weeks combing through the predominantly black residences and finally arresting a young man, Willie Bennett. Stewart picked him out of the lineup, and things looked to be moving forward until Stewart's brother confessed to the police about his involvement with the murder. Turns out Charles called his brother to help him out with an insurance fraud, what he thought, but when he showed up, Charles had shot his pregnant wife in the head and then himself in the torso, gave his brother the gun along with some valuables to dispose of. Charles was apparently pissed off that his wife was pregnant, didn't want to be a father, and he was also just upset because
Motherfuckers.
he was worried that once she had the kid, she wouldn't want to go back to work and they wouldn't make as much money. So he shot her in the
Wow.
fucking head.
When
Yeah,
we
piece
talked about me
of
being
shit.
weird, I don't do this shit.
Yeah.
This shit is,
This guy
I just
once-
watch crap movies.
Yeah.
Once he literally cashed out her insurance policy and then killed himself the day after. Yeah, it's fun dude.
Unfortunately, that is actually a very common thing. with
Yeah, it's
pregnant.
super fucked up. And finally, on a much more, less Boston murdery kind of thing, one of the largest geomagnetic storms hits the Earth as a result of a massive coronal ejection several days earlier, causing communications and power blackouts, as well as affecting the aurora effects on both poles. This amazing visual effect was so extreme that the northern lights could be seen stretching across North America as far south as Florida and parts of the Caribbean.
What?
Yeah.
Jealous.
It was huge. And speaking of dazzling special effects from coast to coast.
I disagree with that statement.
Yeah. Warlock.
For 1989, not bad though.
You know what? They did their best.
Yeah.
They tried.
They had
That-
freaking eyeballs.
The ectoplasm effects were a
The
last minute
flying
change.
was
The
real.
flying was amazing.
Beautiful.
It was, you couldn't tear your eyes away from the screen, right? Every
Yeah.
time he was
Oh,
like
it's
flying.
amazing.
Well, because he didn't want him to use them as a compass.
Yeah. This is also like one of those weird things where it's like the flying spell.
I
it
just
did
genuinely
actually
loved
result in
every time Julian Sands like shot out of a van or shot out of a room. It's like, oh, that's great. That is
the
just
wire work is so
good
good.
for
Can I
Yeah, in order
also,
to-
when he just and the person, the normal,
Can I also
the
just
normie who was like observing it, they'd be like, "What was that?"
I would like to return to the point that Randall was about to make, though, which was in order
Oh.
to do that flying, he had to kill a little boy and use his fat.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
no,
that was
Virgin
the
fat.
next
Even
Carried
an
around.
Again,
Unbaptized
grotesque.
virgin
We had
fat.
it coming. Come on.
I would like to point out that Helen got freaked out when he did the evil eye on the Mennonite, that she's the one who decided she needed to make us evil eye necklaces.
We're watching this movie and he's giving the Mennonite the evil eye, and I was like, "Fuck, we need to get our evil eye necklaces on right now." Because I am not
Yeah,
going
you
to
don't
get
wanna be
some
cursed with
Warlock
that.
shit on my
No.
beautiful
This is
eyeballs.
Such an effective
They are going to stay
movie.
complete and non-bloodied.
So we all thought I was the one that would freak out,
So we
and Helen's the one.
second half of this movie was spent making evil eye necklaces that we are still wearing.
Sure.
Wow.
These are our evil eye necklaces.
Please
The-
don't
the-
spit on
the-
people.
Yeah,
by
the other
way.
point of that
Doof, doof,
spell
doof,
of
doof.
using a unbaptized child's fat
That was messed up.
did result in a so in Laurent, Saskatchewan, a 14-year-old named Sandy Charles.
I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah, basically.
Sandy Charcoals?
Oh no, he had ended up killing a 7-year-old.
Oh no.
Yeah,
And blaming it on this movie.
yeah,
Oh no.
because he wanted to fly.
And how old? Well, this kid's
Kid
name
was 14.
Yeah.
But the
14, the kid he killed was 7, and he said that he was obsessed with the movie. He wanted to be like in an occult like the one that's in the movie, and he thought that if he killed this kid and used his fat, he could fly.
Yeah.
I didn't do
Well,
that.
I'm gonna call this kid an idiot because
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nothing in this movie that would make you think, oh, this is true to life.
Well, but also clearly there are other ingredients besides unbaptized child fat in that.
Oh,
So,
I'm
like,
sorry, Bryce. It just looks like he is boiling some fat and chugging that down.
like
I do not agree that there's
Mm.
anything
There's
else
like
there.
black truffle and there's some rosemary.
Nope,
You know, like
it is 100%
volcanic
baby
salt.
fat in a
So want
tin
this on
can
record.
that he is just
Bryce is a
drinking.
Warlock apologist. Bryce is blaming the victim.
I'm not blaming the 7-year-old.
Well,
I'm blaming
I mean-
the
I am
14-year-old for being
blaming the
stupid.
14-year-old Canadian boy for just being that much of a dum-dum because none of this movie is like legitimate.
No,
This
no,
movie
it's-
is
it's a
so
very
crazy
silly
out
film.
there.
Try to kill a kid and use its fat to fly. Who knows? Maybe it is real.
Yeah, it is a very silly film.
Can we just go? Okay, so
Yeah.
how did Richard E. Grant end up in the present or in 1989?
That's the question I have, because
He
did
jumped
he like
into
just
the
follow
warlock
him?
spell.
Yeah, it's like the portal. He jumped into the same portal.
Yeah.
But he was
But I thought
just
the
there.
devil. I thought the devil.
He was just
sent him-
there. He just
sent the
showed
warlock
up.
forward.
We saw the warlock coming forward, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
But Richard E. Grant just shows up,
He-
and not at the same time, not unconscious
No.
on the very nicely appointed house floor.
He was a little
He just shows up a day later.
further
he
back in the
was
room.
lost, like in LA somewhere.
No,
What
I'm
is it?
sorry.
He was
This
making
is-
LA
this is some-
Story, which came out a year
Oh,
ago
right.
in 1991. He was just
Yeah.
making that, and then when he was done with that, he came back.
He
and
was
finished.
like, "Is that Steve Martin?
Mhm.
Should I follow him around?"
He's like,
No,
oh,
that-
Steve Martin, better movie. Go,
Yeah,
go.
this is that wibbly
That is a
wobbly
better
timey
movie.
wimey thing where it just kind of serves what it needs to be. So maybe the seconds that it takes for him to realize, because we actually don't know how long it took him to realize that the portal had been opened. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a day, but
Julian Sands was unconscious for a day.
sure.
So I could understand Richard E. Grant being, I know I'm trying to apply way too much logic to this, but when Richard E.
To a
Grant
Flying
showed
Wizard
up,
movie.
I was like, how the fuck did this fucker come over?
Well, but so
Like-
he jumped into the warlock spell. So if it's even a couple seconds later, when you like multiply that by 300 years, that's kind of a gap. So he probably fell
Oh,
in
I
a
see.
ditch.
You're right. It's relativity. What am I
Yeah.
even thinking?
So
Yeah,
he fell in a
right.
ditch. He was unconscious. He
I mean,
woke
it
up.
happened in Star Trek. with that episode where they go into like the 1960s
And then it's like a little
and then it's
later.
like later when
Yeah.
in the original series.
Also,
I mean, there's a lot of time.
this is the plot hole that you have a problem with in this movie.
No, you're right. There's more.
I,
We're gonna get to it. There's a
I
lot
do
more.
like that this film is so sparse outside of either the enjoyment of watching Richard E. Grant out of his element or watching Julian Sands just like melt the camera with those glazes,
sexy
like those
evil.
Julian Sands. I
Yeah.
wanted more Julian Sands.
Well, then you should watch the
Well,
sequel.
there's a second one.
There is not.
There's a
There
sequel.
is. There's a
Is
sequel.
there
There's a
really?
sequel.
We're not
Well,
watching.
there's actually 2 sequels, but he's only in the next one.
No.
And I will tell you this: none of the sequels have anything to do.
No,
with
no, no,
any of
they have
the other
nothing to do
movies.
with each
They're
other.
literally just like a whole new movie with the same. His
It's
name
like-
is literally Warlock. He doesn't have a name. His name is Warlock.
Yeah, I saw that in the credits.
Wow.
So-
Is Richard E.
It's a
Grant in the sequel?
redoing.
No, like it has
No.
nothing to do with this. It doesn't continue the story.
It's just
It is-
Julian Sands.
Julian
playing
Sands
this
is born as the
Warlock.
Antichrist and does Antichristy things.
Yep.
I feel like that one was much scarier and more violent.
It
That
is.
one
It was
was
much
more
scarier, more
fun.
violent.
We're not
It
watching
had
this.
Yeah.
0 Richard E. Grant.
Yeah.
Richard E. Grant made this.
No,
Yeah, he was
I
a lot of
completely
fun.
agree. Also, if we're nitpicking nits right now,
Yeah.
why is it that everybody else in the Puritan town was wearing like black robes and
Yeah.
black Puritan hats straight out of my elementary school
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
lesson plan?
He was wearing
And-
Beastmaster clothes.
He looked like caveman meets Indiana Jones.
I think he was supposed to be. Yeah, he had a very like.
I figured he was like a wild man. I mean, he had kind of like a Scottish accent, so I was figuring he was
speaks
like
Latin and like
he was like a northerner,
Like
kind of
North
like
bounty hunter. I didn't
yeah.
really-
Yeah, like
Yeah.
well, I got
Hunter.
him as like the Van Helsing kind of character where he's
Yeah,
like,
living off the land, kind of like a
I
ranger.
want him to team up with Geralta Rivia and go and fight things.
I would watch that movie.
I would read
Oh
that
my
fan
God.
fiction.
Redfern and the Witcher.
Geralt?
Just like
Yeah.
there you
Oh
go.
man, maybe I'll write this
He's
fan
Geralt.
so
fiction.
great. Richard E. Grant is great
He's
in
amazing.
this.
Now I'm just thinking of what it
And
would
now
be
we're
with-
just gonna get lost for a minute. Just
Yeah.
give us like can you put in some music while we all just fantasize for a little bit?
about Richard E. Grant and The
Except
Witcher.
every time I looked at him, I'm like, I wish your hair wasn't like that.
I know.
Aw.
I didn't mind his hair.
No, it was
did.
bad.
It's a mullet.
Yeah, it was
I know it's
Yeah, but it's the 80s.
No, but it was
No.
also not a
Never-
real mullet. It was
it
like a
was-
mullet that with extensions, right? Because
Like,
you could
never
tell that the
excuse a
top
mullet.
part of it was real and the bottom part
it
of
was
it was not.
it was aggressively mullety. It was awful.
so aggressive.
You never excuse a
most
mullet.
aggressive
because
mullet.
History will repeat itself if we aren't responsible about fighting it.
You're right.
You're
Yeah,
right.
Fight the
Dana.
mullet.
Never
Aw.
excuse a
You're
mullet.
right.
Yeah, you can't
Definitely
call it a
don't wanna see
wolf
photos of
cut.
me with a
It's
mullet.
a mullet and it sucks.
A mullet.
Yeah. The only inexcusable hair is I'm sorry. It's
Lori Singers.
yeah, Lori Singer's
It's so
just-
bad.
Triangle cut.
It
I
was
think
really-
what they
It
were
was-
trying to go for was
It's new wave.
no,
It
the
needed some-
like Daryl Hannah like in like
Blade
Blade
Runner.
Runner.
Daryl Hannah
Yeah.
in Blade
But
Runner.
it did not
deep
work.
conditioning so bad.
Daryl Hannah would have been better on this.
or Annie Potts in Ghostbusters.
This is what
You
I'm
know, like
saying.
it's trying to have that very modish do.
Well, it's
Um,
a very new wave cut.
The fact
I mean,
that
even
the
Molly
fact that it,
Ringwald could have showed up and done a great job in this, honestly.
it looked better when she was in that like bedraggled older phase.
When
Mhm.
she was 40 and looked 100.
I know.
Yeah.
Fuck you. 40 is
Fuck you
40 is
was
the
said.
new
It's-
hot.
it's-
Come
I was
on.
thinking about it because, like, going back to our discussion with the Golden Girls,
Yeah.
40 in 1989 is very different than 40 in
It's true.
2020.
True.
It's true.
So maybe if we
But
had looked 40 in-
Also, when she got drowned in the river and she came out and she had the bad like wet wig hair, that was
Oh yeah.
even worse.
No, I thought she almost looked cute then with
Oh
like
my
a little bit of wave,
goodness.
a little bit of
Yeah.
body.
Oh my goodness.
It was
Oh,
so
that's what I was
bad.
thinking of.
and
The
isn't it helpful that he threw her into a body of salt water?
yeah.
It was so cheesy the way
Oh,
that
the-
they were
the
like,
chewing-
she's
the
in
chewing of
salt
the
water.
whip
And
was
she's like,
hilarious.
oh my God. And she like licks
I know
it
what
and
I
she's
would
like,
do.
salt.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm going to be doing in this movie's defense a lot. In this movie's defense, they did set that up at various places, so
Yeah.
it wasn't a
I know.
No, they
complete
did set it
Yeah.
up. I'm just laughing at how they had to remind you they set it up.
It's very, very convenient that he decided to toss her directly into the body of water that would eventually be his downfall.
because as we know, Boston is filled with cemeteries directly next to the bodies of Warlock.
I mean, there is a lot
There's
of
a lot
like,
of cemeteries.
there's actually a lot of like riverfront, you know, the
But
Charles River
riverfront
and all
wouldn't be
that.
saltwater.
I mean, it's
Like,
like
this is-
it's like the river that empties into the Atlantic Ocean. Boston is right on the ocean, you know?
Yeah. Back Bay.
Yeah.
And I just Helen pointed out while we were watching the movie when she puts the completed grimoire in the salt flats. She's like, "Did you really have to put it right under the sign? The salt flats are really huge. You could have put it somewhere a little less
off.
How else will we know where we are?
They're showing, not telling, Alex.
Oh, I finally did remember when you said Molly Ringwald to this, and I was like, no, she already did a really cheesy like fantasy sci-fi thing, and it was called Space Hunter, and it's god awful.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she was like a teenager.
Lori
at that.
Singer's fucking earrings, though.
Oh yeah,
I'd wear 'em.
yeah.
Sure.
There's some of the outfit that I'm
Planet
like,
Earth
okay.
earrings.
Julian Sands' hair was impeccable. He
Impeccable.
was
Perfect.
just gorgeous.
Oh, it
100%
gets,
perfect.
it gets way
Again,
better in the sequel.
Julian Sands was perfect. Julian Sands was wearing fucking pantaloons and like a frumpy top, and he looked flawless. There were so many buttons on his shirt. They
question.
didn't need that many buttons, but he looked perfect.
Exactly what are toe cuffs gonna do?
Why was the toe cuffs?
I
Why
think it
were
was
his
just an
toes
excuse
cuffed?
to get him barefoot for some
Do you
reason.
do spells with toes? Is
You
this
don't
a
do
thing? I
like
didn't know.
Yeah.
ankle cuffs. That
Well,
makes
no,
more
I-
sense.
I assume because she had the voodoo doll that you destroyed through the feet.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
something super magical about his feet.
Right, but you can cuff the ankles.
Now I'm Googling like witch's toe cuff
the ankles
trap.
make more sense. He's not going to be able to get the thing over the ankle.
I mean,
His
that is
thumbs-
based on a real
His thumbs
torture device.
were strapped to his big toes.
Yeah, so you can't move, and then you're stuck in the. You know, it's I can't remember the name of that, but yeah, it's basically puts you in a very uncomfortable
It was
position
weird.
for several
It's
hours,
Very
and
strange.
it is it's torture.
I actually like the cute little bob he has in Warlock too.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I love his hair in the second one. He's way more
Well,
realistic.
I tried to look up witch's toe cuff torture, and now I'm just getting BDSM websites. So
Yeah.
that's exciting.
That's on you. That's on you. I
yeah,
hope it wasn't on
enjoy,
me.
enjoy it, Bryce, because that's not going away anytime
No,
soon.
I
Yeah.
looked up something else suspect a couple weeks ago, and then Etsy keeps giving me ads on Amazon for like BDSM furniture.
I hope it
Mhm.
wasn't on your work phone.
Oh, it's all the same.
Okay.
It's still
Honestly, half the crap I look up that is really, really weird and suspect is for work. So it's
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's
Totally,
fine.
exactly.
Yeah, Julian Sands, Richard E. Grant definitely are the powerhouses in this, and they understood that this was essentially just them.
The two of them understood their roles completely. Julian Sands
And
at
I
no
like that they had
point
fun with it.
is not taking this seriously. Richard E.
No.
Grant is committed to
Yeah.
being like Mr. Wholesome, holy warrior,
out of time
Mhm.
fursuit.
witch hunter. He's so perfect.
Like he
Julian
won't even
Sands
kiss
is
her
like,
on the lips. He's like, I'm gonna
I-
kiss you on
I-
the nose.
I actually do believe that Julian Sands might
Be a warlock.
might be
Yeah.
not even a warlock, might be Lucifer's son. I kind of believe it. If anybody's going to be Lucifer's son, it's Julian Sands because he can pull it off.
Well, and this is also like, this is probably very different than, I think, he was always the lead, essentially the good guy. So this is like having Julian Sands play like this diabolical villain, but having so much fun with it is kind of funny. So the original screenplay, so this is David Twohy. He does all of the Pitch Black movies, and that's basically all he does now.
Also, it's
only
quality B
favorite-
horror movie.
Love those.
Yeah. So
Love
he got to
those.
start, he wrote Critters 2
Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah.
oh, and
no.
critters too.
and Critters 2.
A lot of crap into the universe.
Well, he also did The Fugitive. He also did
Right.
G.I. Jane.
Oh, wow. That's not bad.
He also wrote Waterworld. Say what you want about it. It's still fun. Again, like very tongue-in-cheek silly at parts, because he originally wrote it where the idea he had in his head, he said in an interview, where he wanted the warlock to escape persecution and be the hero. So he leaves the 1600s where he's going to, end up being executed by these Puritans to come to modern day America, only to have it be further persecuted for his magical powers and abilities. But it just never worked out. So he just said, fuck it, and turned it into a villain, basically the son of the devil. And I think Julian Sands really liked it and played like that comedic dark humor a lot with it. And it comes out when he's like hanging out with the kid, and he's very nice. Like, he's very polite. He's very nice. He's never like.
Yeah, but can we also just take a moment? Did Con Air see that scene and go, we should do that scene?
Oh, most likely.
Oh, 100%.
With the kid. Yeah.
Except the getaway. I mean, I know it's Frankenstein, but I feel like the people that created Con Air are much more likely to have watched Warlock than Frankenstein. Just said this scene is really good. The one where we put a child in danger and then we leave it up in the air whether they die or not, except maybe we won't make them die.
Except this one, they're like, no, we're totally killing that kid.
They totally made him die.
This is one of those rare films where you're like, oh, they just literally murdered a kid. All right, cool.
Also, justice happens real swift in that town. They're like, this kid is dead. We're going to do something about it. The coyotes are also dead. Resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like how
Well
on point Richard E. Grant is about like all the little signs that the Warlock is around, like the milk turning and like.
Oh my God. When they're on the plane,
Yeah.
when they're
And
on the
he's
plane
smoking.
and the guy's smoking and his lighter is blue. And then the guy's like pouring cream into his coffee and it's like curdled. I was like,
I love those little moments. Those are fun. Yeah.
how would you know today? There would be nobody smoking on your flight.
Yeah, I also want to bring up, since we talked about Star Trek quite a bit and bad makeup in this, the score for this is done by Jerry fucking Goldsmith, Academy Award winner, 18-time nominated composer. He's been working since the 50s, and this turd, this thing sounds like he farted on a Casio keyboard.
Oh, damn.
It is so bad.
Oh,
Randall
Like,
threw down some gloves.
It is like, I get that Jerry Goldsmith, does stuff randomly. He started off in TV, so he knows how to pump stuff out, but this was just like no effort.
A vacation.
Well, it sounded like the score to The Shining if you played it on kindergarten instruments.
Yeah, it's got this very like plunky, like what are those
I
little air horn recorders?
I didn't
Oh,
pay
I
attention.
thought
This is not
the
good.
Warlock's theme is really, really like
Noticeable.
noticeable, like repeats a lot.
Yeah,
I've seen this movie a dozen times.
Clearly, yeah.
In the beginning, it happens quite a bit, and it's okay because you're like, oh, it's the 1600s. This sounds strange, and then when you're in modern times, it's just like, what? Why does this noise keep happening? I was not a fan of that. Really not good. So you were saying the eyeballs earlier.
So gross.
Yeah. So this film actually, there was a lot of deleted scenes that they cut and then reshot.
Wait,
And
remind me whose eyeballs they were again?
They were
that was the medium.
The mediums.
Yeah.
The medium.
The
Whose
psychic.
makeup
Oh my
was-
God, that was a genuinely scary part when she
Yeah.
becomes like the devil. That was genuinely scary.
Also, her makeup was on point. Clearly, it's possible. It's only Laurie
Yeah.
Singer who couldn't get it
I
together.
think that was the best visual effects in this whole movie.
Yeah.
Was when she's actually channeling the devil.
Helen had to
their
look away.
entire budget on her makeup. And then they were
So
like,
scary.
still have like an hour and a half of movie left, and we just blew our entire budget in the first 15 minutes.
Well, like I said,
Right.
they had this whole like prosthetic system that they were going to use for the aging, and yeah, Laurie Singer just wasn't going to do it.
That was a disappointment, I gotta say. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, all right. We just look kind of tired.
Mhm.
Like maybe you could get like a vitamin B12 shot or something,
and
just
maybe
kinda
like
work up.
her wig
Yeah.
just gets
Yeah.
worse.
So
as you age.
that scene actually, in the original way that they were going to shoot it, it was going to be much more graphic, where there was like a whole thing where it was stripped down and there was a little bit more body horror.
with the psychic, because that was
Yeah.
pretty scary
That
already.
was already scary.
Yeah.
They didn't need to
And-
do anything else. They were fine.
Yeah. So removing the eyeballs was basically just like the beginning of this whole.
No, I'm sorry. When he's in the kitchen with the roommate and that was
that shot
gross
comes
enough.
out of nowhere.
That was so it was out of nowhere. You were like, oh, they're just having like a
Did he
kind of conversation over breakfast.
Omelets, and then all of a sudden he's got lingua on his omelets.
That was a nice little recurse when he comes back and it's like right in the pan as it's sizzling. It's like great shot.
Yeah, and despite the kind of like homophobia voiced by Laurie Singer's character later on, or not even Laurie Singer's character,
The
but like
police.
It's that whole
police.
scene. It was
Yeah.
a whole
Yeah.
gross scene.
It was
It
a
was
very
bad,
cringy scene.
But the character who played her roommate was not like over the top. It wasn't
No.
like
No.
trying to play up any kind of stereotypes.
He was like low key flirting with Julian Sands.
Yeah,
Like,
he was
wouldn't-
just like
low-key
a
flirting.
guy, you
Yeah.
know?
Who wouldn't?
Yeah. Where was the?
I felt really bad.
I felt really bad.
You
for him.
know?
Well, you gotta lose somebody.
Do you?
Yeah,
nice
because in a
furniture.
horror movie like this, it's like
Yeah,
you gotta
because otherwise
have a
nobody's
kill.
in danger. If
The
somebody
kill
doesn't
count
die,
was pretty low in this movie, actually. I think it was at what, 3?
All things considered, that Mennonite survived. Didn't
Yeah.
think he was gonna.
So it's
I definitely thought the Mennonite dad was going down at some point.
He was too
Totally.
religious too.
Yeah, no, he could spot the signs. He knew to draw a hex sign.
Yeah.
So the kill count is just the roommate, the medium, and the kid.
Kid.
So it's just 3.
Yeah.
Only 3.
Just
You
very
know,
violent.
There's a lot of
three.
like bodies and other things. Oh yeah, so a lot of the stuff they shot you see in the trailer, but that wasn't in the final film because they redid it. So the Chandler's death, this is from the, was originally much more violent. So apparently involved a topless medium. The body freezes, the devil's eyeballs emerge from her breasts, and then the warlock stomps it literally out of the body.
Why would
Why?
she be topless?
I mean,
She was a little
it's
sexy.
New World,
You could
you
tell
know?
she was like doing the whole kind of like, I'm a sexy.
Yeah, but did she like see the
medium.
future with her boobs?
No, this is when the devil takes over her body and then changes the form of the body. So
getting some gratuitous boob shots.
Oh,
I
it's the
see.
80s.
Yeah,
You're
'cause
right.
it's
yeah.
Roger
I'm glad
Corman,
somebody
man.
made the decision that was a bad idea.
Yeah, so it's there's definitely stuff that they had to like reshape. And for a travel movie that is, they're trying to get to Boston, they spend so much time in Los Angeles. And the weird part about this film that I mentioned this earlier, where it was just like, why is it literally feel like there's only like 3 people on the entire planet in this movie? Because it's like, oh, there are only like 3 characters.
Yeah.
Hardly anybody else
a
has
good
names.
chunk of it is like Road Trip with Richard E.
Yeah.
Grant and Laurie Singer. Like that's it.
Mhm.
I'll just put out there, this is like the planes, trains, and automobiles of
Totally.
supernatural horror thrillers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the gas station attendant is Rob Paulson.
Huh.
He's Yakko Warner and Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, and he's mostly does cartoon voice. He's like one of the legends of cartoon voices. I just thought I'd throw that out there because it's kind of nice to see him actually in a film. You're like,
Yeah.
oh.
What do you want to do tonight?
Also, going back with this whole thing about writing only 3 characters, because like literally gas station attendant, Mennonite, doesn't have a name. just
Doesn't need a name.
I don't know.
Dad Mennonite.
Young boy.
Son of
The-
Mennonite.
Yeah. The
They might as
medium.
well have called him Neckbeard, to be honest.
I did like how weirdly processed that whole scene was at the barn in the house, where you're just like, it looks
I feel like you
almost
got
artificial.
The most, you got the most amount of like mythology behind the whole
In the Mennonite area.
the whole warlock, what
Mhm.
signs there are of a warlock and kind of like how you fight it. The whole kind of like backstory of fighting against a warlock, it felt came out of the Mennonite area. Otherwise,
Well, and
the whole rest of the movie, you're like, where are we going?
are you
What is
forgetting
going
the
on?
amazing salting the whip scene in the car?
Salting the whip scene was creepy.
I just love it because he's just sitting there chewing the end of a whip, like, nom, 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 then shoving salt on it, and like your mouth has to be so raw, dude.
So gross.
Again, 100% commitment with chewing.
But like everybody's walking around with like pennies in their mouths, like it's
Yeah,
a big
that's also
thing.
like the weirdest thing.
So there's like he makes like a mobile over his head.
I want to say like some of
there's,
those
like the hex sign
might have been just the director fucking with people.
and like nailing stuff into a wall. There's like a whole like mythos behind it all.
But I really appreciated that. Like, I didn't need the exposition of how like you kill, because clearly it's there.
Yeah.
You get a sense for it. I don't need to know about like the books this guy. I don't need to know it.
Yeah.
Can I talk about
I
my
mean-
favorite sequence in this? And it was still
Mhm.
just as tense watching it yesterday as when I was like,
Can't wait.
so I love the sequence when Laurie Singer is going in the train yard.
Yeah.
And she finds a place where he fell on his head. She hammers in his head, and then she's trying to catch him on this train to get her bracelet. And I think it's the only time where her age was well played.
Yeah.
Like, she couldn't run. She was struggling against this body she was stuck in. When she fell, it was really tense. And then, of course, he wakes up at the last minute. It's perfect. Such a good tense
I did
scene.
like that whole sequence where she's just like shoving nails into this guy's foot.
I did like that. When
And
she was
she's
like hammering
enjoying
stuff,
every
I was like,
moment.
oh, that's
Yeah.
satisfying.
Yeah, she was just like, yeah, just get it.
But I gotta admit, I did not understand why. Like, I understand why the foot thing worked. Like everywhere his foot step. She nailed it and it went in. But I didn't understand why it suddenly worked for his head too.
Because he hit his head on the
He hit his head
sand.
on the ground.
Anywhere
That was his head prank,
some part of his body had touched.
Okay.
which was kind of fun. Where he was
Helen's
just
like, I wish they would have given me an exposition dump there.
Just
to
I
explain
understood the
it.
feet. I was like, okay, his feet are vulnerable, but I didn't understand the head.
Helen wanted a Star Wars scroll at the beginning.
I just wanted a little bit.
Like I enjoy supernatural stuff where you get a ton of mythology and you get the backstory rather than dive right in. I think part of my problem with this is they drop you right into the middle of it. So you're supposed to be like Laurie Singer, where you're just in the middle getting pulled into it. But quite honestly, I didn't care. I didn't care if he killed everybody. I didn't care if Richard Grant caught him because I didn't have anything to grab onto. Like there were no relationships to grab onto.
I was a little lost. Yeah.
I wished they got together. I wish she stayed in normal time.
She really wanted Richard E. Grant to stick around.
He was super dead, guys.
I know.
Yeah.
He's been dead for like 300 years. She didn't
We
even-
saw his own
Here's the
corpse.
thing that I
Yeah.
have a problem with. So this is an alternate timeline then, because all of a sudden the grimoire is complete and not.
Yeah, I know, but we saw the little wind thing.
I know, but that means that there's an alternate timeline now. We're in a separate timeline.
No, our
I-
timeline just got
Different
rewritten.
multiverse.
I don't think
Did
Steve Miner
anybody
thought.
time jumps? There's an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
You know what I liked?
I
liked
hate timey-wimey stuff.
Alex hates timeline stuff. She hates it.
Timey-wimey's best.
I did like the way the whole kind of like indestructible grimoire thing got kind of revealed, where you
Yeah.
get like pages of it and it rips up and then it comes back together.
Great.
Yeah, those
CGI
effects are
on
great.
that,
And then
guys.
and Julian Sands is like wearing it as like bulletproof armor at one point,
Yeah.
but you don't really get that. Like he's just kind of like shoving it in his shirt at one point, and then later on somebody's like trying to stab
Yeah,
him
then
and it doesn't
when
work.
Richard E. Grant stabs him, it's just like,
Yeah,
oh shit, that's
so
why
I
he's been
like
doing it.
that
Yeah.
bit where you're like, oh, this is like an indestructible object.
Mhm.
And once it gets kind of put together, then
Well,
it's
there's-
really
I will fully admit that I watched this movie over a week ago.
Sure.
yeah, me too.
And I may not have been paying super close attention.
No, me neither.
I do not remember any of that.
Oh yeah.
Well-
no, there's
Oh, no?
there's little clever bits in
Yeah.
this. But
Well,
this is like
so a piece of mythology that completely went over my head when I was young, but now I'm like, yes, that is smart. The fallen priest, the fourth character in this movie, the fallen priest and his mistress. When I was younger watching this, I didn't get that Julian Sands could go into the priest's house and touch the cross because the priest had violated his vows. Like
Right.
he was sleeping with his housekeeper. Helen is
Yeah.
just getting this now.
No,
Yeah,
no.
that's-
I just figured, to be honest, he was a Protestant priest
oh.
rather than a Catholic priest.
Yeah, that's what I
I
thought
don't think
too.
Protestant priests is where the
Wearing
thing.
the collar.
He had the collar.
We don't know. We're
He's wearing
Greek
the
Orthodox.
I have no fucking clue, guys.
No,
to
he
be
was a
totally
Catholic
honest.
priest.
If
Collar
it's
is
not
Catholic.
Greek, if
Greek
it's
Orthodox allow marriages for the
Greek
priest.
Orthodox priests are married.
If you see the
And-
white collar, you're seeing a Catholic priest.
Yeah.
And I do
So
like
he was a
that little
Catholic
bit.
priest, and he was getting busy with his
The only people
housekeeper.
who have
I just
collars-
figured that was the priest's wife. I
The
just
only-
figured
I
he
thought it
was
was
like.
the wife too. I didn't
I
think
just
it
figured
was.
it was the priest's wife, and he could be married.
And I will also
No.
share that I was so distracted during that point trying to figure out if the guy that played the priest was also the guy that plays Lenny Bruce in The Marvelous Miss Maisel that I
No, not the same. Not the
Way
same.
too-
No,
no.
way too,
Oh,
way too
okay.
far.
Yeah.
Way too
Also-
far. Wait, going back. So this is me being like, Puritans were Protestants,
Yes.
right? Like they're not
Yes.
Roman Catholic. They are 100% Protestants. So are Protestant priests not allowed to get married?
Protestants have clergy. Do they have priests?
Yeah, I think
No,
so.
I think it depends on the
I
sect.
think the
There
only
might be different sects.
Pastors. I think they have
Pastors
pastors.
and priests
Yeah.
aren't the same thing.
pastors are allowed to be married. I think the only Christian religion
Guys,
doesn't
this is
allow
us being like totally.
the only Christian religion that doesn't allow priests to marry is Catholicism because they also
Catholicism.
have the nuns.
Yeah.
that can-
Right.
Hey, listeners, if you know these answers, tweet us, Instagram us.
The Jewish kid just
Facebook
told
us.
everybody about the rules of Catholicism.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I knew the rule of Catholicism. This is what I'm saying. Like, also, the priest was really, really nonplussed to be threatened by a witch. Like,
Yeah.
he was just like,
He's like, okay, I see. Oh,
he's
he
like,
was
yeah,
re-
okay.
He was also very nonplussed when like a dude in furs shows up at his front door and is like, I want your grimoire that is apparently written by the devil. And he
he was
holds it in this church.
He knew what was coming. You cannot have a grimoire like that.
Exactly. If you own it, yeah, I think there is a certain amount, you know, in any career, there's some kind of things that you just accept as part of the job, right?
Sure.
And this is, I think, is what he accepts as part of the job. Is if somebody comes asking for your book written by the devil, you just gotta kind of go with the
You just gotta give it to him. Like,
yeah.
Go with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But very like even keeled, that priest.
I have a soft spot for like a lot of those like exorcist type movies, and I really love all of the fan fiction that's built around Catholicism. You know, the spirits and angels.
Well, this is also Randall Neal, who gets his learning of religion from Indiana Jones.
Damn right. That's how I know things. But yeah, these fall into that category of just like, oh, this is just so much fun. And like you guys said, like, I love the lore because it has like that one foot that's like, oh, maybe people believe this at one point in time, which is funny.
I'm not, Randall, I'm not joking. The evil eye necklaces we had as children, our grandma made tiny little medallions that we would wear on our undershirts so that we would not get the evil eye.
Yeah.
This is something that we grew up with.
And people say this is why you do at everybody, because if you
spit on
say,
people,
if you say something nice about somebody, you're supposed to do at them, like spit on them, to give them bad luck so that the evil eye doesn't then chase them and give them worse
exactly.
luck.
Because if you get too much good luck, you get bad luck. If people are praising you too much, then that is going to draw
the evil
attention
eye.
and somebody is going to curse you, and you can't have that. So you spit on them so that they're not having too good of a time.
Right. I love how these all kind of come down like, look, just lower your expectations. All right.
Like in Spider-Man,
like in Spider-Man, if you don't have many expectations, then you're not going to be disappointed.
There you go. Yeah.
If you
I would have appreciated this film a little bit more if there were, and I think honestly, if you were, I couldn't find really a lot about casting this film
because it was perfect, except for Laura Singer was terrible.
I mean, no one cares.
Yeah, no, it was. Well, there's a couple articles from like Fangoria back in the day that are kind of fun to read about, but that, you know, again, that gets more into like, you know,
could see Mel Gibson in the Richard E. Grant role.
Yes.
Oh, God, no.
Mel Gibson.
I am making a face of like.
I know. I apologize for
disgust.
saying it.
Terrible.
But
But he is
I'm
Catholic.
Pure disgust.
He already had the mullet.
The mullet. It's just purely mullet.
Yeah, but this is like way below his caliber at this point. When they were shooting this in '88, there's no way he would have said, like, this is a low budget movie.
When was Mad Max?
Mad Max was '79.
Oh, there you go.
This does actually share a connection to that. So the shooter on this, he's an Australian cinematographer. His name is David Egby. He was the shooter on Mad Max, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I liked the look of it.
Oh yeah,
it was
for
pretty.
a low budget movie. This looks great. For something that costs like probably like, I would say maybe like $3 million.
I thought that much. I genuinely thought the sets, like the locations and the sets and everything, were really well chosen.
I do really want to go to the salt flats.
The script was good. The shooting was good.
Was it, Bryce? Was the script good?
Okay, for being a B horror movie,
the script is functional.
The script was
the script is functional.
Like, the script wasn't too full of plot holes. It like the characters had a recognizable arc, so you're already beating like half the B horror movies.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Bryce. Half this shit that came out of their mouths, I had no idea what was what they were saying. What was happening?
I was like, the commitment to old timey language. I loved the commitment.
He was very committed to the
Richard Grant's old timey language was perfect. It was like
those were fun moments.
So good.
You watch with subtitles, and it's even better.
Yeah, I bet.
This is a subtitle must movie, honestly.
Oh, see,
but
honestly, like
okay, I'm gonna say Laurie Singer's dialogue. Every time I was like, God, I just wish somebody with a little bit more attitude was delivering this.
Yeah,
because it just didn't kind of like hit the mark. It was like trying to be like teenage slang, but didn't really have the coolness to go with it.
Yeah,
you know,
it could have been a good character, but she was just so bad.
Yeah.
This just was not a good fit for her. She's definitely put out like way better performances. I just like, it's just such a like, she's gorgeous except for that wig.
That wig was so bad.
But especially when you have to deal with scenes with Richard E. Grant, you gotta step it up a little bit, you know.
Totally.
Because he just runs away with it.
Her costume, I didn't think her like outfits were doing her that many favors.
Well, like especially her old lady skirt was such a weird length.
Yeah.
And also it was just all kind of like too top heavy. Like it was like weirdly like
bulky on the
bulky on the top.
That was
for
the style,
and then
though,
like weird
uselessly
open
baggy.
midriffs.
I mean, that is the style now. That's the style right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Everything is cyclical.
I have boxy crop tops that I wear and love that could have been in this movie.
Yeah, do you wear like football shoulder pads underneath them? Because I feel like that's what you need
I
to
don't
do.
have any
Those are-
shoulders.
those are some aggressive
So yes, I would if I
shoulders.
could find them.
Can I just say how thankful I am that shoulder pads have not made a
I
comeback?
know
I'm so
Dana
happy.
hates
Oh.
shoulder pads.
I
They were
hate
bad.
shoulder pads more than anything.
Dana,
in-
I used
looked
to
at my
rip them out
shoulders,
of my
folks. They
dresses.
slope downwards. I can't keep a purse on them. I would kill for shoulder pads.
If we ever do any kind of like live performance or anything, Dana,
Oh.
I want you to walk on stage ripping up shoulder pads.
Oh yeah, ripping them up. Well,
Dana,
if I
I'm
get
with
me
you.
a shirt, I will go back to what I used to do and just pull them out, seam by seam.
Just throw them out into the audience.
Dana used to do
Oh.
the same thing.
Yeah,
I hated
so-
them.
Who wants to look like a linebacker?
I actually
I-
want bone spurs on my shoulders to hang things off of.
To get hang things off of.
Like, you hang your purse, like you like put your shopping bags
There
on
you go.
there. Yeah.
It's not gonna
I
slide
bet the
up.
Warlock could
Yeah.
make that happen. You just got to make a deal with the Warlock. Get him a couple pages, and then
Like some
you know,
spiked bone spurs.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I've got some good.
I've got some
if
good weight exercises.
if
though.
the Warlock is Julian Sands, I will make any deal he wants.
even the tongue deal.
I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
No.
Is he gonna show up with those, like,
Stop.
those evil yet bedroom eyes? It's very like
Yeah.
I think I would kind of fall into it.
This is what happens when your childhood crushes are Julian Sands, David
I
Bowie,
know.
James Spader. I would never, ever offer up my tongue to a warlock like Julian
Hey,
Sands.
excuse me.
But his
Excuse
hair is
me.
gorgeous.
They don't speak for me. I love David Bowie. I would not let Julian Sands do that to me.
There you go.
I mean, for the
think he had
first
the
4 or
same
5
hair.
seconds, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you'd be
No.
like, okay, where's this going? No.
Oh,
No, thank
oh.
He had that hair for a while because I remember he had the long
He
hair.
had it in
for-
Doc
Well,
John, I think.
he had the perfect floppy hair in A Room with a View, just like
Yeah.
perfect,
Yes.
flawless. Then he gets the sporty bob in the sequel to this. Actually, I'm trying to grow my hair into that sporty bob.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch it.
Sporty
Off,
bob.
actually. Gotten just
I know.
under like half an inch maybe, and you're
Yeah,
there.
I'm waiting. But like,
you
I'm gonna
go.
watch that movie for inspiration, for hairspiration.
Yeah, just don't
Recently,
do the,
he's been on like TV crime procedurals recently,
yeah. Mhm.
and it's been not good
Julian
hair
Sands.
wise.
I mean, aging isn't good, folks.
it's very. I know aging sucks. Fuck you, time. But the hair has been like wispy. It's not good.
Wasn't he? Yeah, he was on Elementary.
I mean,
Yes.
he had a
He was on,
pronounced
like,
widow's peak
Blacklist
in
as
this.
well?
Like, you know that
Blacklist,
shit's
yeah.
going off the back of it. Like,
I'm gonna tell you guys right now, a good sharp receding hairline, I find weirdly sexy. Like I like it a lot. And Julian Sands has
Look at
had like
Dana's face.
Are you talking about that the widow's peak?
I'm
the
just,
sharp.
I'm just
That's not
saying,
so much a
for people
receding
who
hairline.
can't tell the difference between Helen and I, because I have the deeper voice, that was Helen saying that she liked the receding hairline.
Like a sharp,
who
a sharp,
also
like
like Steve
right at the
Buscemi
temples,
in
kind
Con
of like
Air.
receding hairline.
She went to Sharp Widow's Peak. It has nothing to do with
Shark Widow's
I
Peak.
think it's very hot.
Okay,
like-
yeah.
Dana is just sitting there going, Fred Savage, Fred Savage, Fred Savage, Fred Savage.
He, he's aged pretty gracefully.
You know
I
what?
would say.
And there was a Lifetime movie recently with Ben Savage in it as like a
Oh.
serial killer. And
Ben
I
Savage.
almost sent it to you, Dana, but then I realized it was the other Savage.
that. Savage is
Yep.
weird looking. Always
No,
has.
you're right.
Yeah, he's a strange.
I liked Ben Savage.
Oh, his nose turned to like putty when he was a teenager.
Oh wow, here's a photo of him in 2018. No, he still looks great. Oh my god.
Fred Savage?
No. Julian Sands.
You know what? It's a
That's awesome.
Jude Law hairline. I really like a Jude
Yeah,
Law
yeah, like I
hairline.
said.
Yeah.
Stop trying to legitimize it, Helen.
Stop trying to legitimize- No, I think that's like I think it's a good look for him.
God.
I mean, I miss the old like long, ponytail kind of
It's
thing.
not terrible. He definitely looks like an old British man.
Yeah, I mean
That's what Helen likes.
I do.
old British men. Okay.
I mean, yeah, like I'm looking at current pictures of him.
Yeah, if you're gonna be an Anglophile, you could definitely do worse.
He's aged well. He looks okay.
No, he looks good.
Yeah, he looks all right.
Like I said, you could do a lot worse with British actors. So I was thinking, since like there is a high possibility to having this remade, because they had a sequel, and like I said, none of the sequels have anything to do with any of the other movies. They were literally just taking the premise and a whole new story. The last one came out, I think, 1999, and I don't think it had anybody from any of the franchise. But yeah, I could definitely see this being like updated and having way more fun.
Yeah.
I would almost see this as like a television series where he chases him down, and like every season he finds like a little bit more of the book.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
Beastmaster. It's fucking Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
No.
And Supernatural.
No. Do not.
Helen, you
no.
watch it.
Then we get my favorite scene in any time traveling movie is where they take the time traveler to get a modern look, and it's always my favorite.
Watch it.
The
Quantum Leap and Supernatural. You would watch it.
Stop.
I am
putting
prime audience
in the same conversation as this movie. It is not the same conversation as this movie.
Not.
Stop backing up.
I'm gonna stop her right now. I'm really sorry.
Okay, so Helen and I will have weekly watch parties for this imaginary television show, and y'all can suck it.
Yeah, enjoy it.
As long as it doesn't have anything about Quantum Leap in it, because Quantum Leap is far superior.
No, Quantum Leap is the best.
Redfern doesn't have to go through travel through time, like fixing things that the Warlock undid. It's one time jump.
Why not sing it?
No, but that's what I'm saying. The show, if you were going to do Warlock the series, they jump to all different time periods, chasing down the pages of the book.
Yes.
You know?
So it's like 12 Monkeys, the television show?
Sliders. Say it's Sliders.
I'm the only one who's finished 12 Monkeys, the television show. I acknowledge this.
Oh, I gave up on that one.
There was a television show?
It's
good.
It
wasn't bad. Yeah.
Wait, of what?
12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys?
Yeah, it was on for a couple of seasons.
It was on for 4 seasons, and it was
real
pretty
weird.
good.
Yeah.
Sliders was good.
Sliders.
Jerry O'Connell.
I will say that was the best thing they could have done with the pilot, when he ends up jumping back and it's just happened to be the right place that he was supposed to be, except they fixed the squeaky gate. Like that little reveal, and he's like, oh, it's the wrong thing, the gate doesn't squeak, and then they leave, and it's just like, oh, come out, I'm glad we fixed that squeaky gate. He's like, why would you just leave? Like, my gate doesn't squeak, I have to go. Maybe do a little bit more research than just, oh, this gate doesn't squeak, I can't be here.
Was that 12 Monkeys or Warlock? Or which movie were you just referring? What were you just
No, that was Sliders.
That was
Sliders.
The very first pilot episode. Oh God. Holy fuck.
I don't know what's happening.
I think his computer started talking to him.
Well, I'm in a room where somebody's just remoting in and watching something, and they were talking about pork in a bowl, and that freaked me out. Okay.
So you didn't just see the Warlock?
No,
okay.
I didn't. Also, why was the Warlock
Can you light something and make sure it's not a blue flame? Do you have any milk and make sure it's not curdled, Randall?
We have milk in the refrigerator, but I guarantee you it's curdled because nobody refills it.
Yeah. Any sage to burn?
There's a hat rack over here.
We were watching the new TV series. Do you want me to make
Ghosts?
you an evil eye necklace? I can.
I want one of those just for fun.
I'll send you one. You got it, Dana. I'm gonna.
Of all the people in the world, I feel like I need an evil eye.
Yes, I'm getting.
I still don't know what an evil eye necklace
Honestly, if it
is.
keeps evildoers like Julian Sands or Spike the Vampire away, I don't want anything to do with these necklaces.
Yeah, he has a very Spike
Bryce
vibe.
100% wants those creatures in her life.
I like how I married the non-capital N, non-capital G, nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And secretly my heart longs for vampires.
Murderer, vampire,
Visual
sorcerer.
reference. Randall is kind of the exact opposite of James Spader or David Bowie or Julian Sands.
Yes,
So
not the creepy kind of dangerous blonde guy.
My magical powers just aren't that good yet.
It'll just kick in. He's been saving it up for the back half
There we go.
of next.
I'm going to be one of
years.
those elderly warlocks.
I want more of a Daniel Radcliffe. I can't wait. I can't wait until Randall starts showing off his.
I want Daniel Radcliffe and guns akimbo. That's what I want.
Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
Yeah,
He's kind of fun in that.
Yeah.
he's so good in Miracle Workers.
Guys, know what we've gotten to? The point in the show where we
the point in the show where we're stop talking.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up and see, what does this hold up?
No.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know because I didn't remember it from back then.
It totally holds up.
I have
It is.
I remember
It is still like creepy, scary, entertaining.
It does not hold up in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to make you say the same thing that you make me say about all of my movies. It holds up for you because you loved it.
It holds up for me because I loved it, minus one really, really, really cringy homophobic scene that could have easily been cut. I don't know why I was there.
And for someone that did not love it as a child, but saw it once in passing, it does not hold up.
I'm with Dana. It does not hold up.
I did not understand it. To be honest, I was like, I have no idea
Our
what's
mom,
going on.
you know what? I'm gonna gauge these
That's
a little bit.
good.
Our mom doesn't like it. She was like, "What is this movie?" When they took the tongue out and the eye, she was like,
Not
"No." She went to go clean
man.
dishes at one point.
Sure.
She was like, "I'm gonna go clean the dishes."
Sure. As probably the
And you all
resident.
made me very happy after torturing me with Sleepless in Seattle. Frankly.
There you go.
That's why we did it. We wanted to
Romantic
make Bryce
comedies will
happy.
do that to you.
And also, I feel like I understand you better, Bryce.
I'm glad.
To be honest, so I do appreciate it.
I'm
for that
glad that if
reason.
nothing else, this
Yeah.
has helped you understand
Yeah,
why
totally.
we
It's like
Yeah.
opening up those pages a little bit and like, oh, okay. As probably the resident connoisseur of
Schlock TV.
B movie and
Yeah.
schlock, this is actually pretty well executed. I did want to bring up one quick point about this. Steve Miner is the director of this. Fun fact: he directed and got nominated for an Emmy for The Wonder Years. I think he did like a handful of episodes on that.
Hey, Dana.
Dana.
Wonder Years.
Savage. Right,
Yeah.
now we're back in my territory.
He got his start doing Friday the 13th, I think, working on the first one, but then he actually directed the second and the third one. Second one being probably that's definitely my top 5 of the Friday the 13th franchise. He also did the highly problematic Soul Man.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one pretty awful. Forever Young, that weird time travel-y.
Was that a Mel Gibson?
That's
Yeah.
Mel Gibson. Yeah. Lake Placid, which I absolutely adore. Halloween H2O. He
Lake
also
Placid
does a
was
lot.
Time one. No, it wasn't time.
No, Lake Placid's the
was
big.
the crocodile one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Crocodile
yeah.
with Betty White.
No, you were thinking there's a
The
lake, the lake
house.
house. You're thinking of that.
Yeah.
That was a romantic
Keanu.
comedy, so totally different.
He does a lot of fucking television. Like he did episodes for Felicity, for Psych,
Where the money
for
is, dude.
Dawson's Creek, for
Come on,
Smallville.
regular
Yeah.
work.
Oh, this is my favorite thing I pulled out of his. Apparently, he directed the 2008 Jessica Simpson vehicle, Private Valentine, Blonde and Dangerous.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Good for him.
But yeah, for a B movie of this caliber, of this kind of like fantasy genre, it could have been done so poorly and so bad. And like it's cheesy, yeah, but for what they did, I was like, this is really effective.
It's serviceable. It's 100% serviceable.
I did appreciate that they actually filmed at Plymouth Plantation.
Oh my God, that opening
Yeah.
scene
That's actually
where they're
in,
like back in the day, ye oldie times.
Yeah, a lot of
was
these
filmed at-
locations are like
Plymouth
legit.
Plantation.
which is
Yeah.
It's our local kind of like historical reenactment site.
Oh,
you know?
of course, yeah. And
Right
that
off
house
gate.
with the barn and the Mennonite, that's George Washington Faulkner House out in Santa Paula, California.
Nice.
Yeah, the locations are great, and they, of course, couldn't do all the wire work and fun stuff in a real graveyard, so they had to do that all on set. But for the
Oh man,
for the
Julian
finale.
Sands flying is just something special. I will say, for no
He gets
other
stabbed
reason.
in the back with a weather bane.
I mean,
It's so
for
hilarious.
no
He
other
goes,
reason, if you watch this movie only to see Julian Sands flying around, like a demented squirrel,
yeah,
know?
yeah.
and then gets stabbed in the back by a weather vane.
And frankly, Redfern, like a professional javelin thrower, he was
Like
committed
Olympic
to
grade,
throwing that
Olympics,
weather vane.
Yeah. Like he's throwing for like US gold.
I would say if you're gonna, I don't know if this is your cup of tea, it's definitely like fun fantasy.
No,
I
we're
would
just gonna send you that YouTube link. You don't.
Yeah,
need to
there you
watch
go.
that.
You could do the 1-2 punch of this one and its sequel, because you kind of have to.
I'm gonna watch the sequel
Kinda
real
have to.
soon.
I don't think I could do.
I'm not gonna watch the sequel.
I'm not watching the sequel.
Especially if it's
only
grosser.
200 minutes.
This was
Come on.
gross enough.
I'm gonna watch the sequel.
That's what I remember is Warlock 2 coming out and it being like super scary and violent as Kim.
Yeah, it's definitely.
thank you.
I didn't pick that one.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I
Bryce.
appreciate it, Bryce.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
forgot. Steve Miner also
And
did
Randall
the
Stacks.
ever funny PTSD puppet horror film House, which is with Richard Mall.
No, yeah, we did watch House. No, we watched House 2.
The
We watched
second
House 2.
story.
We did House 2. Yes.
We watched House 2
Fun
and
game.
we watched Trolls 2.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wait,
and
why are you
Crawl
watching?
2.
Why are
We
you?
watched
Oh
the
God, I
original
wish there
Crawl.
was
We
a
watched the
Crawl
original
too.
Crawl.
Why are you watching these?
Bad
why are you
movie
watching all these-
night.
Why are you doing it without
Oh,
Randall? Is
gotcha.
what he's saying.
No, I was wondering why you were only watching sequels. I was
It
like,
was a
sequel night.
theme. It was a
It was a
theme.
bad movie night.
Oh,
We did Jack
gotcha.
Frost 2, Troll 2, and House 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jack Frost.
that's what it
2.
was.
That's
Yeah.
what it was.
ew. Yeah, that's not a good
I
idea.
curated
It was not great.
Jack
that was
Frost
the
2 is
worst
not
of the
good.
nights. I think that was the night that.
No, Poultrygeist.
Oh, Poultrygeist.
That
Poultrygeist.
film is
What about
something.
Clowntergeist? Randall made me watch that a couple months ago.
Poultrygeist actually ended
Poltergeist
our
is
bad
so
movie
bad.
night.
Ended. Killed it. Killed it dead.
Nobody
Killed
wanted
it
to come
dead.
back.
It's
They're
a
okay, this is
difficult-
You know
fun.
what, guys? Zombie finger banging will do that.
Yeah. It like bad movies are God. It's like that fermented shark thing. It's like it's an acquired taste.
We-
you
You
know,
know what, Randall? It is exactly like that fermented
Yeah.
shark thing. Yeah.
most people are going to be revolted by this, probably throw up. But there's some people that are like, you know what? I kind of like this.
Okay, you're not one of those people though, right, Randall?
No.
What? I like bad movies.
No,
They're
you don't like the
amazing.
fermented shark.
You guys have
Oh, no,
fermented
no.
shark in Iceland?
We did. We ate it.
Yeah,
And it was-
pretty gross.
The tiniest bite of it. And I'm like, for half a second, I'm like, this isn't that bad. This is like a subtle fishy flavor. And
No.
then the ammonia flavor
No,
hit
it's
me.
gross.
Like literal ammonia.
No.
And then I had a
thank
shot
you.
of some repulsive alcohol to wash the taste away.
I like
But then our
sharks too
tour
much.
guide said that we could call ourselves Vikings, and really that's
Yeah.
all I need.
I like sharks too much. The only thing I really need to do is where did we say it was? I need to go to the Royal Historical Society of Folder.
right.
Oh yeah, it's in like fucking Norway.
Completely gotten off topic here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was trying to
Yeah.
wrap it up because
yeah.
I don't
Sorry.
even
Well,
know
you-
how we're going to end this.
Anyway, it does hold up. It's amazing.
Does not hold up.
No, thank you.
I don't know, guys, because
I
it's
think it's
such a
fine.
weird movie.
I think
It's
it's
so
fine.
out there.
Look, guys, if I can admit that Chipmunk Adventure doesn't hold up, I think Bryce can admit this one is not fully playable in 2022.
Okay, but
I
Dana,
really
you
did
also
enjoy
have
it,
to
though.
admit that Chipmunk Adventure was for a children's movie.
Yeah,
Are
this
we
is
opening
definitely
this
for
can of
adults.
worms?
10 times more offensive than this
Oh, yeah.
movie was.
I fully admit that. I fully admit
Like
that.
I think at least like topic wise, it doesn't
But I think
stray
there were a
too
lot
much in like
there
There
were a
weren't
lot
a lot of people of color. This was a very white movie.
it was a
Well,
very
there was
white
only
movie.
4 people in it.
Only
Yes.
four
There was only 4 people
Yeah.
in it, but one
at
of
least-
those didn't.
other didn't get murdered.
Yeah,
That's true.
see,
But the gay person did.
well,
That's what
Um,
that is the most problematic part of this movie. Yes.
yeah.
That's the very that's the problematic part of the movie was that it had that one very easily
The murder
cuttable
part.
scene
Yeah,
that didn't need to be there,
yeah.
and then they killed the gay roommate.
We really
Well.
don't need to end on this.
No. I honestly, I just really can't believe that Jerry Goldsmith did the fucking soundtrack to this thing because it's so bad. Like that's what I just couldn't get over watching it the entire time. I was like, how?
You know
How
what?
did-
It really did need like a good 80s power ballad.
It did.
You know who would have been great? Like a
Over the
good
credit. Yeah.
a good Kate Bush. If they had like
Okay.
a good Kate Bush, witchy
Or Jane's
power
Addiction.
ballad.
Apparently we could have taken some Jane's.
Jane's Addiction.
That's how we end the episode.
just all the losers of the heavy metal Grammys from
Yeah,
1989.
Jane says.